Well, folks, Wednesday, welcome to the balcony again, and welcome to Coffee with Job. We're going to look at something today that's amazing, I think, but very limited in terms of time, so let's just go straight into it. I want to begin this by mentioning something I read this morning in Luke chapter 21, verse 26. People will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Can you share that sentiment? For me, I'll be honest, I feel that. I feel that there's a terror on the world just now for certainly many people. What's going to happen next, and all the COVID stuff and everything else. And that's where Job is so helpful to us. So we're coming into Job chapter 1, and I was going to do the whole chapter, but I realize way too ambitious. We're just going to stick with verses 6 to 12, which is, read it, it's the appearance of Satan boasting about how he wandered around the earth, and God boasting about his servant Job, and Satan saying, yeah, but Job only worships you because you've given him all this stuff that we saw yesterday. Now, there's so many questions about this. The devil, surely, this is an anthropomorphism. What I mean by that is not that the devil is not real. He is real, but he's a spiritual being. Don't think of this as kind of like a parliament meeting. This is the devil coming before God, and we can think about it in this way. How is the world governed? There are spiritual forces, there's no question of that. And you can believe that you're polytheists, that the trees and the wind and the seas, that there are good and bad forces and they battle it out. Or you can be what's called a monist, where you believe that there is one God who controls and does everything. And some people think that's what Christianity teaches, but it isn't. So that's the mistake that people make when they say, well, my child died, so why did God do that? Well, God didn't. But there are things that go on in the world. Now, that doesn't mean, we're not back to polytheism, there's good and bad and they're fighting it out. God is in control, but there are evil beings, spiritual beings who fell. God didn't create them evil, he created them, but they had the option of becoming evil, if you like, and so they did. But God is still sovereign over that, and that's the point of this passage, because Satan is allowed to do this to Job, but he's only permitted. So God permits, but does not himself do it, and that is very, very important. I'll probably put a link to this, but I did a lecture on the apologetic of evil at the Keswick Convention, and I've done forms of that many times because I do believe that the existence of evil is an apologetic for God. In fact, if you don't accept that if you do accept that there's evil, if you don't accept there's evil, there's something wrong with you. If you do accept there's evil, it actually leads you to the conclusion that there must be a God, and that lecture explains why. But I love what Augustine says, and let me read this. And in the universe, even that which is called evil, when it is regulated and put in its own place, only enhances our admiration of the good. For we enjoy and value the good more when we compare it with the evil. And I love this. This is brilliant. For the Almighty God, who, as even the heathen acknowledge, has supreme power over all things, being himself supremely good, would never permit the existence of anything evil among his works if he were not so omnipotent and good that he can bring good even out of evil. God can bring good even out of this evil we're facing. For he judged it better to bring good out of evil than not to permit any evil to exist. COVID is an evil. Bad things that happen to you are evil. I do want to illustrate this with a story. I remember a woman and her husband who were very anti the church. Their baby died. I buried their baby, 18 months old, 3-foot white coffin, absolutely tragic. And I thought, they hated God before, this is going to be even worse now. She turned up at church on Sunday, and subtle as ever, I said to her, what are you doing here? And she said, if there's no God, none of this makes any sense. Do you know what? I look around this world and I think, if there's no God, none of this makes any sense. And I'm so thankful that Christ is the answer to the problem of evil. If you're an atheist, you've no answer. Just suck it up and see. If you're a Christian, you've got Christ. Cheers. See you tomorrow.